Hello, friends, and welcome back to Malicious Compliance Stories. There's a weird disconnect between some supervisors and their employees where they're responsible for people doing their jobs, but have little to no knowledge of how said job is actually done. We'll tell you more in our first story. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're new here and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Here we go. How I got a manager to become the laughingstock of our store. I work as a butcher at a store where you can buy large quantities of items at near wholesale prices. One day, as I was pulling the case in order to store them in our freezer overnight, I'll generally stack meats and make things easier for me about 5 minutes before the store closes. Grumpy manager comes over and asks me what I was doing right as I was bringing racks out to put the meat on, a couple minutes after doors have closed. He flips his crap for whatever reason and orders me to unstack things and wait for him to tell me to pull the cases until they finish the walk to ensure everyone has left the building. I was not supposed to touch the cases. Okay then, want to F with me for no reason when you're mostly just sitting in your office twiddling your thumbs instead of helping people on the floor or even answering the phone? The next night I waited, leaning on the case. GM drives by on a forklift he's using like a Segway to check on people. 10 minutes pass and I'm still standing, but I'll probably be pushed into overtime because pulling things takes a while to do. Another 10 minutes goes by and he sees me, this time asks why I haven't started pulling the cases. Well, duh, silly, you said I couldn't without your permission. Instantly red with anger, starts telling me I know better and he's planning to write me up. Yeah, food times, LOL. The next day, I got a visit from our warehouse manager, the assistant warehouse supervisor, our fresh foods department manager, various coworkers, and my boss, the meat manager. Every single one of them asked me about it and got a good chuckle from it. All the people he spoke to asked the GM, well, did you tell him he could pull the cases? So he became a punchline for a few weeks. When one of my real managers swung by, they'd stop and ask, hey, did GM tell you it was okay to put more product out? Hey, did GM tell you it was okay to make hamburger, even when it's about to run out? Hey, did GM tell you you could help that customer? And our second story. The Lawn Mowing Chronicles. So, a little backstory. My father and I run a landscaping company, so we deal with customer service on a daily basis, and the way we give estimates for lawn mowings is based on the amount of trimming there is around the property and whether it's bagged or dumped on site, mulched and blown out, or hauled away. On average, a lawn will cost $45 to $60, not including extra work, but can get higher depending on the severity of the lawn, in such cases as having not been mowed in weeks, which takes longer, and not being a full customer also affects the price. So this story takes place in mid-July 2019. So we got a call one day to go do a lawn, and when we got there, it looked like the house had been abandoned. Grass about a foot tall, beds full of weeds, and all around looking like a jungle. My father and I discussed that it was automatically $60 and probably going to take 2 to 3 hours to get it looking semi-decent. We knock on the door, and the woman is probably mid-50s, and I immediately think she's a Karen just by her haircut. We talk and discuss what to do and the price, which she agreed to, then we got to work. After about 3 hours of work in the blazing July heat, we got it finished. We put the bill in her mailbox and then went on our way. About an hour later, during our lunch break, my dad gets a phone call from Karen, and my dad talks loud, and the phone volume's as loud as speakers, so I can hear every word. Why is this bill so high? The bill was $150. Because it took 3 hours to do the lawn. Your grass was almost a foot tall, and that takes longer to mow, and more trips to dump in the truck plus the haul away. You also killed my lawn. It was green, and now it's all yellow. Context. When grass is very tall, all the green is at the top of the plant, and the base of the grass becomes thicker and more yellow because it's more mature. So when you cut it back down to lawn height, which is around 3 inches, it looks dead. We told her this at the beginning. It'll become green again over time with water and rain and fertilizer. That's a lie. You intentionally killed my lawn so you could charge extra to sell me fertilizer. No, I did my job. I don't screw people, and I don't like being accused of doing so. Well, I'm not paying for it. I'll pay $50, and that's being generous since you killed my lawn on purpose. If you think I'm taking anything than what's agreed to and owed, you can take it to small claims. Why can't you just accept $50? I could have just got the kid next door or some other company for a cheaper price. Then why didn't you have the kid next door do it? And good luck getting another company to do that job for less. F you. So you don't want mulch done? CB hangs up. I told my dad I was surprised to see him so calm on the phone since he's usually confrontational. He told me he knows she'll never go to court and he'll put a lien on the house. A couple weeks later, we get another phone call from CB and she's screaming about how she can't sell her house because we put a lien on it, saying we broke the law, robbing a poor woman, gonna call the state to shut us down, etc. It took until September 26th to get paid because she did eventually go to small claims and the case went in our favor, showing the work we did. We take pictures of before and after for our Facebook page with consent from the customer, and the judge thought the price was appropriate for the time and effort. Instead of $150, she ended up having to pay around $550 in court and late fees. Cashing that check was one of the best paydays we had this year for a one-time mowing. We pride ourselves on not screwing people over, and this is just one of many instances of choosing beggar from my 8 years in the business. Update. I just found out that the house is still for sale as of 11/3/19, and she let the lawn grow out again to just as bad as it was. We have a little Facebook group for local lawn companies and told them to avoid the property, and many of them over the past 2 months said they got calls and denied her. Why'd she let it go to court? Not sure how she felt she was in the right. Cost her more, and she lost more time on selling the house. Total waste of everyone's time. And our last story. Sorry, it's my cab. I was out earlier today to get some groceries. It was an uneventful shopping trip for the few things I went out for. This happened when I tried to get in the cab I'd called for myself. When my cab pulled up, it was one of the owners whom I'm good friends with, as well as her husband. I exclusively use their company, and they give me deals sometimes, like not charging for an extra passenger, or if they see me walking, they'll stop and not charge me. The cab driver, I'll call Claudia, helped me load my groceries into the trunk of the car. I put the cart alongside the other carts, and when I went back to get in the cab, there was a woman sitting there. She'd locked the back door so I couldn't get in and stared straight ahead so she didn't make eye contact with me. I said to Claudia, "I thought I called for the cab. Who's that lady?" Claudia looked in the backseat window on her side and said, "I don't know, but she's getting out. This is your ride." Claudia opened her door and nicely explained to the woman that the cab was already hired and she had to get out. But she'd get on the radio and get someone else there right away. This woman was having none of it. "I got in the cab first, so it's my cab. Just shut up and get in and take me to wherever she wanted to go." Claudia told her she needs to get out because this cab was taken again, and tried to open the door to get the woman out, but every time she hit the unlock button, the woman would lock the doors faster than Claudia could unlock it and open it. Then Claudia just reached into the cab, took out the keys, and told the woman she's calling the police if she doesn't exit right away. Then the woman lurched over the front seat and locked all the doors. Claudia had the keys and could have opened the lock at any time, but instead kept to her word and called the police. The police station is literally across the street from the shopping center, so they were there in less than 5 minutes. When they did arrive, we told them what was going on and they ordered her out of the cab. She sat there stone-faced and ignored the 2 police officers completely. They got Claudia to unlock the doors and were quicker getting the door open than she was at locking it. One officer ordered her out of the cab. She turns to him and says, "I'm not getting out. This is my cab and I'll stay. And that driver better get herself behind the wheel before I press charges." At the same time as the first officer was talking to her, the other jumped in the back seat and basically shoved her out the door. Once she and the second officer were out, the first officer shut the door and Claudia locked it. This woman may have been dressed like a lady, and to be honest, she wasn't that hard on the eyes. But the gates of hell had just been opened. This complete psycho slapped Officer 1 and was turning to punch Officer 2 when she froze and stiffened with the most ungodly sounds coming from her as Officer 2 tased her. They put her in cuffs and had to wait for the ambulance for the taser barbs to be removed by an EMT. Claudia and I were told we could go. We weren't needed anymore. Since she assaulted an officer, our petty little squabble was nothing now. We still have to make statements, but those guys are going to wait until Monday. 1, so she can sit in jail all weekend. 2, because it was near the end of their shifts, and by the time they'd be done, the paperwork would be quitting time for them anyway. And third and most important, Claudia is the sister of Officer 1. I'm sure Claudia will keep me posted on everything, and the good thing, other than the entertainment, is Claudia gave me a free ride home and helped unload the groceries. I'm glad I didn't buy ice cream. Update. I talked to Claudia last night. From what her brother told her, the woman cried the whole weekend in jail. She tried buying her way out many times. LOL. At court, she pled guilty to almost all the charges. She wouldn't admit to hitting the cop, but there was dashcam video showing it clearly. The judge said she was guilty for that as well. I guess there were about 8 charges in total. She was found guilty for all of them. When the judge gave her punishment, I was told she screamed at the judge that it's not fair and tried to offer the judge money so she didn't go back to jail. For some reason, the court didn't charge her for trying to bribe a judge, but everything else she earned. The judge gave her a total of $2,500 in fines, 1 year probation, 1 year suspended license, 6 months suspended jail sentence, and the rest of this week in jail. She'll be out Friday, Claudia said. Yes, it's good you didn't buy any ice cream, but it's a shame you didn't buy any popcorn. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.